Welcome everyone to episode 149, Money on a Mission. And today we are joined by a very special guest, BDR Jake Vitullo. Jake, it's awesome to have you out today.
Pete, excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Jake and I, we frequently discuss energy and artificial intelligence. I think it's something, no pun intended, we have a lot of energy about. By the way, what did you do for Halloween?
I was Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad.
That's a terrific show. That's awesome. I never got into it, and the Instagram reel spoiled it for me. But talking about that, let's get to job changes. Gregory Kupiec transitioned to Kupiec Investment Group from LPL, where he served as a financial advisor based in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. He now leads the firm as president and financial advisor, bringing extensive experience in wealth management and client advisory. As a generalist, Gregory focuses on guiding clients through personalized investment strategies and financial planning. He holds an undergraduate degree from the University of Dayton, supporting his leadership and client-focused approach within the firm. Now, Jeanne Kearns-Hager transitioned to OneAscent from Boston Harbor Wealth, bringing decades of experience in financial services through her role as financial advisor based in the Boston metro area. By the way, have you ever been to Boston?
I've been to Boston once, yes. A lot of brick. Very nice.
So Jeanne operates as a generalist, offering personalized financial strategies that align with each client's goals and values. And I think this is one thing that we keep seeing more and more in our kind of capital markets and in the really investment landscape these days is like really value investing, having someone that aligns with your values and your goals. And I think that's why RIAs have just seen such a rapid maturation over the past few years. Now we're going to get to Craig Masher, transitioned to Regions Bank from Golzer Investment Management, where he served as portfolio manager based in Indianapolis. He now holds the role of Vice President Investment Portfolio Manager, bringing extensive experience in portfolio management and client advisory. As a generalist, Craig contributes to Region Bank's investment strategies and client service initiatives, leveraging his background to support the firm's continued growth and performance within the financial services sector. And Jake, what is going on in kind of the wealth management, RIA, financial advisor, M&A world? I would love to hear about that.
Yeah, sure thing, Pete. AssetMark Financial, which has $158 billion in platform assets, struck a deal to acquire $3 billion Philadelphia-based RIA Efficient Advisors from its current owner, Lee Equity Partners, backed Fiduciary Services Group, FSG. It's a mouthful there, Pete. PricewaterhouseCoopers International Ltd. served as a financial advisor in Kirkland, and Ellis served as a legal counsel to AssetMark, while the DLA Piper served as a legal counsel to FSG. Cetera hired a trio of directors for its RIA Blueprint team: Lyndon Kinnaird as operations director, Brian Daly as RIA services director, and Landon Portner joins as an IRA relationships director. They had previously worked together at Investment alongside the head of the team, Andina Anderson, although Kinnaird was most recently at Juniper Square. Down in Birmingham, Alabama, OneAscent Financial reportedly added a Houston-based RIA Patron Partners to its platform. Patron, which will remain independent, reported $349.2 million in regulatory AUM in its October 2nd Form ADV.
Wow, October 2nd. That's my half birthday, actually. And now we're going to get to investments and searches. So the Texas County and District Retirement System, by the way, I was just in Texas. I was in Dallas. Had a great time. The Texas County and District Retirement System made a $5.5 million commitment to Spectrum Select Opportunities 2A within its private equity portfolio, and a deal closed on October 23rd. So just a little under the 2 weeks ago. The manager represents an existing relationship with the pension, which has made several previous allocations to Spectrum funds. Most recently, a $10 million commitment to Spectrum Equity Discretionary Overage Fund 3 in 2022. And talk about a mouthful. Wow. Now we're going to stay in the South, but we're going to North Carolina. The North Carolina retirement systems approved several new allocations across private markets, real assets, and hedge funds, including $200 million each to LBA Logistics Fund Value Fund 10, with non-core real estate and AG Caiucci within the multi-strategy portfolio. $150 million each to Harrison Street Real Estate Fund 10 and its co-investment vehicle $125 million to Stone Point Trident Fund 10, and $100 million to Levine Lechman Fund 7 in private equity, and $50 million to Melange Gulf Popes co-invest within its inflation-sensitive component. I mean, wow, just a ton of investments right now. I mean, clearly a lot going on there. And I think really the inflation-sensitive component is super fascinating right now. I think, over the past 5 years as inflation has really, grown tremendously. I mean, the CPI in 2022 is 9.1%. And even last month, it was a couple weeks ago, it was high at 3%. So I think there's this huge push to invest in types of projects and components that insulate you from the ravages of inflation. So a lot going in here. And so we're in North Carolina. Now we're going to take a trip to the West, New Mexico. So the New Mexico State Investment Council. By the way, have you ever been in New Mexico? Or
I have not been to New Mexico, but Albuquerque is where Breaking Bad is based.
Yeah, I know. I mean, great. I need to get in that show. I watched the first season of it, and then I couldn't get into it, and then Instagram Reels just ruined it for me. So
yeah,
it's a sore topic, but I'm jealous that you watched it. The New Mexico State Investment Council approved several new commitments totaling nearly $1.8 billion across its private equity, private credit, and real assets portfolios, including 200 million euros each, which equates to 214 million, to CVC DIF Infrastructure Fund 8 and CVC Capital Value Add Fund 4 co-investment, alongside 100 million euros, which equates to 107 million. I did it all in my head. I'm just joking. But allocation to CVC Value Add Fund 4, a 200 million top up to Carlyle Property Investors, and 150 million each to Bain Capital Asia Fund 6, Oak Hill Advisors Oland, and its co-investment feature. The investments were based on recommendations from investment staff as well as the pensions consultants Mercer, Townsend, Makita, and RVK. And so this is some really exciting stuff. So Jake, what's going on in the searches world? Could you update us on that?
Yeah, sure thing, Peter. The Swedish Fund Selection Agency, or FTN, issued an RFP for 8 actively managed global technology equity funds, primarily focused on large and mid-cap companies in the technology sector. The funds collectively managed SEK $153 billion in Swedish currency, or $14.5 billion in USD. As of the end of September, proposals are due by December 11th, and questions are accepted until November 27th, while the response is being provided on December 5th. Moving down to the Oklahoma Police Pension and Retirement System, they've narrowed its investment consultant search to Mariner, an incumbent asset consulting group based on its staff recommendation. All right, Peter, what do you think this all means?
So obviously a lot going on here, a lot to address and unpack. And so here are just a couple of Dakota's strategic takeaways for GPs and LPs. Number one, fundraising rebounds as confidence returns to the market, and we love confidence. The past few months have seen renewed momentum in private market fundraising, led by large closes from established managers like Arlington Capital Partners and Hollyport. I also think people are really bullish on these rate cuts. I mean, the Federal Reserve, they cut rates 25 basis points last month, 25 basis points this month. I think there is just a lot of exuberance there. And also what's going on is this activity points to a broader reacceleration in LP appetite, which, at this point sometimes feels insatiable, as investors re-enter the market following a cautious first half of the year. Many institutional allocators are now adjusting pacing targets upward for 2026, particularly in private equity and secondaries, as distributions finally begin to normalize. Number two, fundraising momentum returns for core PE and secondary managers. The successful closes from Arlington Capital Partners, which is $6 billion, Montagu, which is €2 billion, and Hollyport Capital, which is $4.5 billion, demonstrate that LPs continue to back experienced managers, especially in differentiated verticals like government-related industries and secondaries. And I think, when you're in a government-related industry, I think that's sometimes indicative of a good or service that is essential, so the demand will never wane. Sometimes you might have a contract, so it kind of insulates you sometimes from some macro headwinds. So secondary funds remain high in demand as investors look for liquidity options and vintage diversification, a clear signal that the secondaries market is evolving from opportunistic to strategic capital allocation. So what's the bottom line here, Jake? The private markets fundraising landscape feels markedly better than it did 6 months ago, while capital is still concentrated at the top. renewed liquidity and improved sentiment are setting the stage for a stronger 2026 fundraising cycle. For GPs, differentiation through track record and transparency remains the key to harnessing that capital. So really exciting stuff about fundraising. Now, could you just give us a couple key fundraising updates?
Thanks for that fantastic insight, Peter.
Anytime.
On to fundraising updates. Middle market private equity firm Montagu secured $2 billion at closing of its single asset continuation fund dedicated to the Internet of Things solution provider Wireless Logic. The fundraise, scheduled for completion in December, was one of the largest continuation fund transactions in Europe so far this year, with commitments from new and existing backers, including the lead investors TPG GP Solutions, CVC Capital Partners, CVC Secondary Partners, and Partners Group, Evercore, and Rothschild and Company. Advised on the transaction, while Paul Weiss served as legal counsel.
And now, that's some exciting stuff. And now with Arlington Capital Partners, closed Arlington Capital Partners Fund 7 with $6 billion capital commitments, so a lot there, making an oversubscription against a $4.75 billion target. So, they must be pretty happy right now. The fund reportedly, the firm's largest so far, will invest in government-related industries, including aerospace and defense, government services and technology, and healthcare. And I think right now, especially what's going on in the aerospace and defense world, especially just really defense, what we're seeing with defense tech and this yearning for like this injection of private capital into defense is just immense. Like just the other day, it came out that the U.S. Army was trying to tap Cerebus, Carlyle, KKR, Apollo for $150 billion in private capital to modernize and overhaul military infrastructure. I think this is clearly the new direction. And so our data shows the fund received $638 million in total commitments from the Fort Worth Employees Retirement Fund, not too far from Dallas, Howard County Master Trust, University of Vermont Endowment. That's where my mom went to school, fun fact.
Oh, wow.
Teachers Retirement System of Illinois, Contra Costa County Employees Retirement Association, Virginia Retirement System, Houston Police Officers Pension System. Thank you to our police officers. San Antonio Fire and Police Pension Fund. Thank you to our firemen and police officers. New Mexico State Investment Council and Arkansas Teacher Retirement System. So clearly a lot of LP commitments and a lot of exuberance, it seems like. So Jake, could you sign us off on the fundraising front of things, please?
Sure thing, Peter. Arlington sounds like it's doing well. On to Hollyport Capital's Hollyport Secondary Opportunities Fund 9 closed with more than $4.5 billion in total capital commitments, comprising of $4.3 billion in the main fund and $250 million in separately managed accounts. John Carter, founding partner and CEO, said the firm raised the fund and is oversubscribed against a $3 billion target, amid a growing interest in the secondary market as investors attempt to rationalize the tail end of their portfolios and redeploy capital. Dakota data shows the fund attracted commitments from the Connecticut Retirement Plans and Trust Funds and the University of Alabama System Endowment.
Wow, that's exciting. We're not finished yet, guys. We still have to talk about some exciting Dakota Cocktails, and I thought, Jake, no one better than you as a BDR to really kind of outline what is in store for us for the rest of 2025. And by the way, there's a lot of exciting stuff. 2025 may be coming to a close very soon, but our cocktails are still some very exciting stuff on the horizon.
Thanks, Peter. We have 2 cocktail events tonight, one in Chicago and one in Palm Beach, Florida. On November 10th, we'll be in Sao Paulo at the Carmo Conference. And November 20th, we will be in Philadelphia at the Union League. You can register for these cocktail events at dakota.com/cocktails, and we'd love to see you there.
Thanks for coming out today, guys. We'll see you later this week. And thank you, Jake, for coming out.
Of course. Yeah, thanks for having me, Pete.
This episode is brought to you by Dakota Marketplace. Are you tired of constantly jumping between multiple databases and channels to find the right investment opportunities? Introducing Dakota Marketplace, the comprehensive institutional and intermediary database built by fundraisers for fundraisers. With Dakota Marketplace, you'll have access to all channels and asset classes in one place, saving you time and streamlining your fundraising process. Say goodbye to the frustration of searching through multiple databases, websites, Form ADVs, and say hello to a seamless and efficient fundraising experience. Sign up now and see the difference Dakota Marketplace can make for you. Visit dakota.com/Dakota-Marketplace today.